Welcome to the Conscious Economics Podcast. I'm your host, Rhiannon Rosalind. I'm a serial entrepreneur and social innovator. I like to gather people from all different walks to talk about what I call the conscious economy. I believe that we can create a more equitable system, one that honors the well-being of people, the well-being of the planet, the well-being of business, and includes art and creativity. Join us each week as we tackle a different intersection of this big but critical conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Conscious Economics Podcast. I am your host, Rhiannon Rosalind, founder of Conscious Economics, and today I'm joined by a friend, an amazing artist that I'm so excited for all of you to meet. Alicia Bucknor is a mother. She's a visual fashion artist, a creative director, and I would say a social change artist. Now, I added that in because I really do think that some of the themes that you explore through your art are these themes that we have to explore as a society. So I call that social change art. I see those elements of change, of inspiration coming through your work. And so I've added that in as the title. But thank you so much for being here with us today. And I think what I'd really love is for you to share with our audience, first and foremost, what was your personal journey to becoming an artist, calling yourself an artist, embodying the space that you now occupy?
Oh, wow. It's been a journey. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Wow. I was born an artist. I'll start there. I'm a self-taught artist, which is rare. Mm-hmm. And art has always been more of a comfort, more of a therapeutic practice that I used in my work as a creative director. I'm a creative director by trade, and I went to school for that and all that good stuff. But I realize now that I've always used the artistic elements and put it in every aspect of my work, which is really cool, not knowing I was doing that. So my journey is interesting because I think it's come full circle. When I was pregnant with my first daughter, I started to really remember as a child, what did I want to do? And at that point, it was, of course, about can I financially support my family, because I have a beautiful child now. Mm-hmm. I'm a mother, but it was also about, as a child, you have these dreams and ideas of what you want to be, how you want to change the world, how you want to provide impact or inspiration. And in advertising, I feel like I was lost.
So that was your career. You were in advertising, and then you're having this reckoning moment as you have your first daughter, where you're just feeling that pull and that call back to your art.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's when I said, okay, let's give this a go. And at the time, I'm really connected to my faith and really cleaning up my body, really taking care of myself. I had, again, a new child, so it was really about how am I going to be the best person I can be to support and to influence and to guide this child, this baby. So I took this role very seriously. And because of this, I think it inspired a lot of other things that I didn't show the public. So I created a magazine that was inspired by my second daughter, but in the background, still creating art, but not showing anyone. It is
you
a very
weren't showing
personal.
Anyone at all?
No, my family, of course.
Even when you were running the magazine?
Yeah, no.
Get out! So even when you were running Milk and Heels, so Milk and Heels was the magazine that was co-founded by Alicia and her partner.
Yes.
And this is how we met, because I was able to be featured in that magazine. Tell the audience a little bit about the concept behind that magazine, because again, I think that is such an empowering magazine in terms of what you were trying to capture there.
So again, Milk and Heels is about empowering families and unity. It was really about kind of showing the world that mothers can be fashionable and fabulous, and we can do all things, and we can be that role model that our children deserve to see, because they don't need to depend on other influences outside the home to be their role model. That's what we believe at Milk and Heels. You can honor housewives or entrepreneur mothers or women in service, and we can empower them. And children, we empower children. We show children in the magazine as well, because they're doing some really cool things in the community as well.
It's so fun. When you came and shot my 2 boys with myself, oh my goodness! But to have the kids be involved,
yes, it's a very important element.
It was such a beautiful. It was such a beautiful vibration and container that you created. You and your partner created, your whole team really. And that's where our friendship really started, because I thought, anyone who can create this kind of experience, and the beauty of the magazine and the art direction and all the pieces that you put into it, it really truly made me want to know you more. And then to find out that you still weren't even showing your actual art, your visual art at that point. Hold that thought. We have a quick word from our partners before going back to the episode. This podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, RBC Investees. Backed by expert human advisors, RBC Investees is a smart, online, automated investment service that allows you to invest with low effort and low cost.
Open your first RBC Investees account and pay no management fees for your first year. Plus, start investing with as little as $100. Simply visit rbcinvestees.com/getinvesting and sign up using promo code AA407.
And now back to the episode. So when did you first show your first piece of visual art?
Okay. Let me rephrase. I did show my art when J-Lo was just born. Okay.
Yeah.
But the response, I didn't get a good response at all.
Okay.
So to me, that meant at the time, go back to what you know. So I put it away and went back to, I just said, you know what, maybe it's just not my thing. That's okay if it's not my thing. I have other gifts and talents and I'll run with them. So I pivoted and I stuck to what I knew and my mission, because I was a mother. I said, hey, let me create this brand that was about empowering women and children and fathers. So we have a Dapper Dad issue as well that's coming out soon. And then, that's how we met all these really, really cool people, women that inspired me. So that's why you were featured, because you inspired me with the Economics Club. And it's really, it was lessons for us. Carrie-Anne and I, we really grew with the magazine and understanding what are our talents, what are our roles, and how are we going to grow this so that it's something inspiring for every woman and child to be like, hey, I'm a Milk and Hills family.
I love that.
So, it's still evolving. And that's the cool thing about business and about these companies that we're growing.
Yes.
So,
I think that's so well said, because I know that when we vision something, when we have a dream as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as an artist, and we bring that dream to life, we then also allow that dream to evolve. And it's so interesting, even as a child, we give birth to a child, but that child is its own unique, soul. Yeah. And so over time, our job is to guide that child, but that child grows into who they are. And it's the same with our art. And especially when we decide to put art out into the world, we may have created it from a certain space and place, but now as others interact with it, the meaning and the message continues to change. So while you and Carrie-Anne envisioned Milk and Heels from the vantage point that you were at, I have this interpretation of Milk and Heels in terms of what it meant to me. And a lot of what it meant to me was not just the experience of being featured, it was seeing 2 women behind the magazine, following their dreams, bringing people together, creating community through art. And so that is what you do. So let's fast forward to some of what you're doing now, because you've got a whole fashion line that you have created. And it's really, again, where we meet is on this theme of conscious leadership.
Absolutely.
And really embodying all of that spirit in the way that we show up. And so making sure that our mind body is healthy and clean, because that's going to allow our vessel to be clean in terms of what we create and all of those pieces. So tell us a bit about the theme of this line, because I am just so into it. It's amazing.
I'm so into it. It's called Royal by Alicia Buckner. At first I wasn't even going to put my name on there, and then everybody's like, you have to. So here it is. It's Royal by Alicia Buckner. It's my interpretation on royalty and what that means. And royalty to me is a spiritual royalty where we are all connected because we are crowned by God. As long as we have faith, love, and we keep unity as our primary focus on life and empowering ourselves, that's how we can now bloom. And in that blooming stage, we are like flowers. So we need to tend to ourselves like flowers. We need to give ourselves fresh air, light, the sunlight, really good nutrients in our bodies so that we can now flourish. We can pass the crown on, like I like to say. We can help another person grow and build up themselves. It doesn't have to be crabs in a bucket. Royals know that. Royals know that you need each other. You need a community to build. And that's why I love working with extraordinary women like yourself, because that's how we can do bigger things to change, and I feel like with money and greed, sometimes people forget about change. How can you change without unity and aligning with somebody, so
I love that theme, and I love that you're taking a theme, because royals, traditionally when we hear that word, we do think of the monarchy. We think of wealth. We think of only a certain few can hold that title, this elusive title. But what you are expressing is that we are all able to be royal in our own uniqueness.
Absolutely.
And, that message to me is so powerful, and why I wanted to have you on Conscious Economics, because again, redefining and taking some of these words, and revaluing them, and then seeing the beauty of what you're expressing. Because again, through the art and the line, I'm seeing these images of empowerment. I'm seeing these images of, again, feminine, royal. It's so something that we haven't seen before. It really is. So it's awesome. So exciting. And so you have your first kind of showcase exhibit is happening at the Toronto Eaton Centre.
Yes. So I have my first book. It's called My Vintage Dreams coloring book, and it's a different spin on a traditional coloring book. So the book is intended for art therapy. So you go in it and there's affirmations and beautiful queens all dressed up in fashion. And the idea is I wanted to use my style of fashion art and abstract to give you a book that you would want to, after you've claimed it, meaning colored it in, you've cut it out, and you can frame it and actually have the book around you to remind you of how royal you are, or at least help your mindset, because I believe we need to start empowering ourselves with what we read, what's around us, making sure that we're all centered in all areas. And it helps if you see positive things around you all the time, or if you can express yourself in a clear, relaxive way, you can clearly think properly. So I'm trying to create products, a collection that helps with that message.
Yes.
So the clothing came because I realized that people can become this walking billboard of royalty when you wear the clothes. So I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist, painter, a muralist, a creative director, an author now. And all these elements, people want to experience it, and they couldn't necessarily only if they bought a print. So I wanted to extend that.
Really immerse them in it.
Yeah. So you are the canvas now.
Wow.
And you're walking canvas, and now you are royal with the line. So that was the
That's
idea.
So cool. I really have to, applaud you for everything that you're putting out into the world, because it's coming from, and we talk about this a lot on the podcast, when we work from this heart space, when we're creating from this heart space. And this is what you're doing. It's like your heart's work. And that's why I think it's so relevant. I think that's why so many people gravitate towards it. I know it speaks something. There's a frequency that is within it that really is medicine for our society right now, because you're redefining some of these concepts. And I think just the fact that you are, a young mother that's pursuing these things, it sort of makes me want to ask you, how do you balance your creative channel with all the responsibilities of running a business and being a mom and being a partner and all of those things? How do you keep your creative vessel clear? Because I know that sometimes I feel like it ebbs and flows for me, you know, and like I don't always, the tap isn't always on. It doesn't always run smooth for me. Sometimes it does more than others. How is it for you, and what do you do to cultivate that?
It is similar in terms of the tap is not always on. Every day I find myself learning more to I guess, prioritize my energy in the right places. So in the past, I've given my energy to the wrong places, and I've gotten the wrong result, you know, and not knowing, you know, what I mean by that is very simple, into people or into projects trying to help people, or companies that I wasn't aligned with anyways, or they didn't see my vision, or giving somebody a chance that maybe didn't deserve it. So I would have to teach them, and that would, you know, take away some of my energy on my focus. So I'm really learning to do that, prioritize, and keep some sort of the balance and the connection with my faith, because that always centers me and gives me the most peace. Every time I lose that, when I get too busy or put other things in front of it, things start to fall apart. And I realized that you have to go back to what inspired you in the first place. So faith and family inspired me in the first place. And it's going to keep inspiring me. Nature, oh my goodness, nature inspires me so much. Exercise, I feel like I'm at my peak self when I have all these things in a line.
Yes.
And food. The right food can do wonders. And I'm on an alkaline-based diet.
Okay.
So that's plants mainly, so vegetables. I do consume cheese and milk, though, and egg, but that's about it. There's no other.
But, you know,
anything
I think this is beautiful that we're talking about how, because we have a lot of artists that we work with through conscious economics. And a lot of the times when especially artists are getting into a position where they're using their art as a vehicle for their income, there's this pressure, right? Of like, you know, now I have to create at this pace, or now I have this client's taking me on for this project, and now I have to show up in this way.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it can be very off-putting. And again, I think with you, you know, I'm asking you this question about how do you stay balanced, and you're talking about your diet, and you're talking about, you know, your physical activity and all these things, and it really is a part of it. It is all interconnected. The more well we are, the more that innate creative flow comes. And that is the truth.
Absolutely.
And I think that for so long we were told this message that artists need to have pain and struggle in order for it to come through.
Absolutely. I didn't want it. It's so funny you say that, because I feel like a lot of the opportunities sometimes are geared toward artists that have that pain art, and not the ones that are coming from the love art. And a little bit of me had doubt because of that. And now I just don't care. You know what I mean? So now it's like, I am love, and I am about love. So take the royalty, or you cannot take it. It is what it is. But absolutely,
I think that's so interesting. And, you know, I have a theory on that. And I think it's that sometimes, art is an ability. If we don't have in ourselves an ability to express, we're drawn by seeing something else expressed through someone, and then we're finding parts of that message that resonate. And there is a lot of unexpressed grief and pain and all of those things. So of course that comes up. It's bold, and it draws you in.
And it's necessary.
And it is necessary. And there's nothing wrong with it. But the social change art, which is why I called you a social change artist, because you are embodying this higher frequency of wellness, of consciousness. And, you know, you're calling your faith, you call it God. Somebody else may call it the universe, or like, and I want to open it up, because I don't want people to feel that they're not called to the table depending on how they call their higher aspect or that higher presence. Some people may call it just the planet, Mother Earth, her own vibrational frequency. But what is so beautiful is you're expressing from this place of love, from connectedness, from joy, from mothering, from nurturing. And when I see this element of treat yourself like a flower and tend to yourself, and then watch yourself bloom and grow. And I think that so many of us, we need to hear that message, that it's okay to tend and love love yourself, because that's when you will see your highest expression. And so it's just so profound. Now, one thing I will note, because I got to meet your two daughters this past weekend, because you guys were coming in to shoot, and you are raising now two young girls who are embodying that same light and frequency. And I know your oldest daughter is already, classifying herself as an artist. She's a singer and she's doing this work. And your younger daughter is so immersed in it as well. So you really do pass that gift on by being in your full expression and essence as a mother, which I think is another narrative that's lost a lot of times in society. We hear every Mother's Day card is like, thank you for all the sacrifices you've made for me, or thanks for jumping yourself over the counter so that I could, but it's like, what about thriving?
Yes.
What does that do?
Yes.
And so I think that is just so special. So what right now, with all that's happening in the world, what is inspiring you right now the most?
To be completely honest, the love that I do receive from people all over that I don't even know, that is like wild for me.
And that's through the art.
It's so inspiring. Like, I have people DMing me from all over, and I don't know them, and they're telling me, they're connected to it from whichever way that exactly what you said. Men, women, that's inspiring. And nature. I could just go back to nature. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm turning into a hippie or something, but I'm just so into it. It's just wild. And animals, I'm just even more into it, and learning how, I think, I know why. I'm reminded by the healing that nature provides our bodies. Yes. So when I see it every season change, for me, it brings me back to that childhood when you would just watch it, the leaves blowing back and forth. Just watch it and really take it in, because when you're so busy, you lose all that stuff. All that stuff doesn't matter.
Yes.
And it should matter. We are so disconnected from the world. We have shoes on. We should be earthing. There's a lot of things that's going on that we can heal ourselves, especially with all the sickness, mental health that's happening. People are getting more sick, and we can, not make that happen. We can reverse it.
Yeah.
And it's because we're not healthy. And then you have unhealthy thoughts, and you're not feeling like the best you anymore.
Right.
And you think it's because your best friend is this way or that way. And it's really maybe sometimes you, and you're not centered.
Exactly.
And not enough people are talking about, am I well?
Yes.
Like truly well.
And again, coming back to this philosophy of conscious economics, I really think you're so right. I think as a society at large, we've been really unwell, and we've lost our wellness.
Yes.
And we've lost our connection, not only to our deeper parts of ourselves and each other, but to our planet.
Absolutely.
And so the systems and the problems that emerge from that are what we kind of currently see expressing themselves, whatever it may be, whatever topic, whether it's, racial injustice or whether it's climate change. We're seeing that all around us, that expression of what unwellness has done and what it looks like.
Absolutely.
So again, I think that, a lot of us think, and I know for someone like myself who grew up in a low income situation and there was a lot of struggle in my house, I felt like wellness was something that was for rich people or for people that didn't come from where I came from, and what I think the message really is that nature is the medicine, and it's accessible everywhere and now. And that really, truly being in nature, I know they call it forest bathing, but just being in a forest or immersed in nature actually has a scientific impact on your nervous system, on your brain, on your mind, on your body. And so knowing that these things that are free are some of the most powerful currencies. And again, we see that, even in climate change, it impacting certain groups more deeply than others. And it's like taking someone's nature away. It's taking someone's, essence away. So this is something that we want to kind of reframe. And I think that you just embody that so beautifully. And I just couldn't, I was just so moved by meeting your 2 young daughters and just how they are already showing up in the world, so unique, so themselves, so confident. It's because of that example that you're setting. And I think that that's so beautiful. It's so, so beautiful.
I try. They are definitely the driving force, definitely. Not because they say anything to me or anything like that, but because I feel like how can you expect a child to think that they can do anything when you're not trying to be your everything? So
that is very powerful.
Everybody needs to look at themselves and see if they are being the best role that they can be. And if they are, keep going.
Yep.
We fall.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to figure out how to pivot, how to figure out, how to get back up.
Yes.
But because we are trying to figure out how to get back up, that's when we've won already.
100%. And just the courage to look within and to see what's working and what's not. Yeah. And I think that that's so, so special. So my last place is really, could you tell our audience where they can find you, where they can find your work, and where they can get involved? Yeah.
You can find me at byaliciabuckner.com. I have my artwork collection as well as my prints. You can find my book there. You can also find, the book is called My Vintage Dreams Coloring Book. It's at Eaton Center, Eaton Center in the Black-owned store, which is super excited, in a pop-up until February. So if you're in Toronto, please check it out. I actually created some limited edition prints as well for the occasion. And it's dope. I've never been in a mall, so that's really
I was so excited.
Yeah. So things are, like I said, it's picking up. The love and the journey. Trust the process. That's another thing too. Trust the process, because this hasn't been easy. A lot of people think it's like easy to put yourself out there as an artist, and it's not. That's the most vulnerable thing that you can do.
Absolutely.
Really. So, but to receive it, have people receive it, that's like huge for me, because you never know, if people are vibing with your work, and the fact that they are is just all the better. That means that, and they actually understand it. They're getting the purpose behind it. Like, I like to say, I create art that's pretty with purpose. So why not?
Yes. Well, I think that it definitely is resonating. It's reverberating a frequency that is needed on the planet right now. Awesome. It's so special. I can't thank you enough for being here today.
Thank you.
And for all the amazing work that you do. Honestly, it's been a joy knowing you over the years and watching this continue to unfold. So
much more.
Yes. And there's so much more. So please do check out the work. And for those of you watching, if you are interested at all at anything that's happening at Conscious Economics, you can also visit our website at consciouseconomics.ca. And we hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. This podcast is brought to you by Cpp Investments. At Cpp Investments, they never lose sight of the long term. They invest the Canadian Pension Plan Fund to help provide financial security for generations of Canadians.
They diversify the CPP fund across geographies and asset classes to access the best investment opportunities and generate sustainable long-term returns. The fund is now more than $400 billion.
To learn more about their investment performance for Canadians, visit cppinvestments.com.